Boy Dgotsauce back with another live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all viewership, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if y'all are new. Y'all already know, man. We here for another one, man. We active. We back with the regular scheduled program. You know what we usually be talking about. You know, news, trending topics, politics. I already know, man. Like the usual show. And it's been a while, so forgive me. I know I've been away when it comes to this, but you know we still here, man. We still having a good time, bro. We still having a phenomenal time. But hit that like button for your boy, man. I really do hope that y'all are having an amazing week. I hope y'all had an amazing month so far. November's almost over. We got a couple more days till December, man. And I've been really just, I'll be honest, man. I just been really chilling, man. I've been enjoying myself, my November, my birthday. It's my month. It's my month. It's my birthday month. So we celebrate the whole month. You know, we don't just celebrate just a day, but shout outs to the Scorpions in the building. And yeah, we had a blast, man. I've been away for the past couple of weeks, so I really haven't been able to pick up the phone or pick up the pick up the sticks to even play 2K. I haven't been doing none of that, man. I just been really just focused on me and focused on my family and friends and just enjoying my birthday, man. Honestly, it's God is good. God is good, man. I'm 30 now, so I feel a little old. I'm not gonna even hold you. I'm not even gonna cap. I feel a little old. You know, I feel like I could feel it in my body. I could feel it in my bones and stuff. But we still gotta go on, man. Life still goes on, right? Life still goes on, man. And we God is good. Like I said, man, God is good, man. Everything that I ask for, He just comes through with it. And I just keep. I'm trying to keep my head leveled. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stay humble. I'm trying to maintain my character, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it is really hard sometimes to do that, but I always got that mindset that regardless of what, man, God got me, bro. He really do got me. He got it all under control, and I really ain't got nothing to worry about, man. Life is kind of on autopilot, and we just taking it a day at a time, doing what we got to do, man, to just be productive out here in these streets, man. That's the most, the most. That's my mindset, I should say, that I've been going forward with this entire year, man. And honestly, it's been working, man. It's been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Like I mean, I can't complain for real. Can't complain, man. Life is good, man. Healthy, healthy. My family's healthy. You know, we in a good place. I hope that y'all are in a good place as well. I hope that y'all are in a good place as well. We got some new stuff today, man, to talk about, and it's been a very strange political year. I'd say we had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of weird things going on, but also good things. But it's been a roller coaster ride for especially Democratic Party, I think, too, and not only the Democratic Party but the Republican Party too. It's been a roller coaster ride. These people are they're going through it, man. They're going through it. It don't matter if it's in the Senate. It don't matter if it's in Congress. It don't matter if it's just the local mayors and government and governors. Everybody seems to be going through it. Um, and Marjorie Taylor Greene has came out and has said she is going to resign from um her position for the 14th district of Georgia. This is This is bombshell. Not even bomb. I don't want to say bombshell. This is breaking news. This is big news because she was a big face. She was a big face. She also had a lot of things to say when it came to what is Trump doing? What is Trump doing about the Epstein files and protecting women's rights and stuff like this? And she's also had a lot of hate put towards her from stuff she said in the past, especially like a Jasmine Crockett, and how they went through it, and just how her the words she has used in the past. She does not have the best of reputations, in my opinion. But she did come out last week and she apologized for her actions in the past, and she wanted to move forward peacefully. In that moment, she was still in her position and did not want to resign. But now it's coming out that she wants to resign, and ladies and gentlemen, let's just tune into the video, man, and see what's actually going on out here in these streets.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, this was the post that she put up moments ago. This is her message to Georgia's 14th district. She is saying thank you to her constituents again. She wrote that long note on social media. She also released the video attached to this post. We just got the video in-house. Let's play it. This is the full thing.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass the plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas just sit, they all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years, they actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their Visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us.
Not even
Through
family
it all,
first.
I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However,
talk your talk,
while yes,
MTG,
hurtful,
talk your talk.
My heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day.
Dangerous field, man.
It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family. But it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
No, some of y'all
and
are clapping right now.
I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
I know some people are clapping right now, man. I know some people are clapping right now. But I really do want to say this. I applaud her for coming on here and saying this. I applaud her for coming on and you know, doing this, because she is in a very, very tough position. She's beefing with the president, and as you can see, she's also beefing with average Americans. Politics is a funny, funny place, man. One day you could be genuinely in the best position ever, and the next day everybody's against you. You know, or more than half of the people are against you. So it's a really difficult, even speaking about politics, reacting to stuff that people say about politics, or even giving your own opinion about how you feel things should be ran. You are going to get hate. You're going to get a lot of hate. And that is what we've seen here. And it's clear as day that the pressure is too much for her to handle. Although she's been doing it for 5 years, I mean, kudos to her, man. She's had a career, regardless of what people say, regardless of what people, you know, have to say about her or feel about her. She's done her thing in the 14th district of Georgia for the past 5 years, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of thankful people out there that support her still in that district, and then that are hoping that she's still running. You know what I'm saying? But she's in a very tough position. She's in a very extremely tough position, and realistically, a lot of people wouldn't want to be in that position. That's just the honest truth. You're getting death threats. You have to defend your name constantly. People are talking bad about you. Want to see your family dying. Like, all that stuff adds up. All that stuff adds up. And you don't want to be living your life having to look over your shoulder every single second and, you know, feeling like somebody is going to take you out We seen what happened to Charlie Kirk. We seen what happened to Trump. We seen what happened to a lot of other political figures, JFK. Like this stuff is no joke. This stuff is no joke. And this is the America we live in. This is the world we live in, honestly. But it's not even just in America, but if you're in political power and you feel some type of way, somebody's gonna hate you. Somebody is gonna hate you extremely just because they disagree with you. And that's the sad part about it, man. That's the sad part about this whole situation. Obviously, she's gonna probably be all right. She's probably good on money. I'm sure she's good on money. Her family's probably good, so that she made a lot of money doing this. But it's very interesting to see how the tables have turned in this political moment. You know what I mean? But let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below, man. I'd really like to know y'all thoughts. Thank you guys again for tuning in. It's your boy Dgotsauce, man. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if y'all new. Let's get into the next video, man. Let's get into the next video. Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani has met with the president. Zohran Mamdani has met with the president of the United States of America. Hold up. Let's watch the whole thing. Why not? I mean, we got some time. We got some time. Unless we could just watch the key takeaways. We'll watch the key takeaways.
You're watching.
This is CBS. CBS News. Yeah, let's watch some of what's going on. This is a very interesting moment in history and moment in this era right now. These two were just going at it not too long ago. Now they're kumbaya, hee ha with each other. It's like I said, politics is a very interesting place, and you got to be some type of character to even want to be in it, and then some type of character to want to even be at the top of it. You know what I'm saying? So these two men have met now, and they seem to have actually gotten along for their first ever meeting. Let's tune into the video.
CBS News 24/7, and quite an extraordinary meeting in the Oval Office between President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. They were both very complimentary, as you heard, very civil. And this comes just weeks after the president urged voters not to vote for him in New York City's mayoral election. The president expressed hope for Mamdani's tenure as mayor. Listen.
I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
Mamdani as well, also very complimentary of Trump about their meeting this afternoon.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Good.
CBS News political reporter Zach Kodak joining.
Listen, man. It's always one thing when they don't meet. And when they meet in person and actually have a conversation and actually dialogue with each other. These people did not even know each other until just this meeting. And from the media wise, it looked like they hated each other. that's the craziest part about this whole situation. Now I think he's gonna do a really great job. It's coming out of his mouth. I hope he does a really good job myself. I really do. I hope he delivers for the New York people. Obviously, he has an agenda of his own. You know, whoever knows what that may be, we'll find out. But he said he's going to deliver on certain things for New Yorkers, and that's what a lot of New Yorkers, the majority of New Yorkers, voted for. And y'all chose him as the next mayor, and now y'all gotta deal with whatever comes with that. But it seems like they're gonna be working together, which is a great start.
Us live now. Zach, a lot of eyes on this conversation, on this meeting. You know, quite a different tone before this election. The president really now giving his stamp of approval for Mamdani, the two of them having a conversation, if you will, as opposed to prior to the election. Your thoughts and take on this?
Jules, I think it was somewhat of a surprise to all of us to see how well they were getting along, but I think at the heart of that is what they said they talked about before they let the cameras in, which is making New York affordable for New Yorkers. And I think really what that illustrates is the fine line between the far-right campaign that President Trump ran and the far-left Democratic Socialist campaign that Mamdani ran. We saw this even in the past with a lot of similarities between President Trump's campaigns and Bernie Sanders' campaigns. I think the reality here is that while they are on different ends of the political spectrum, they are both populists, and they both realize that what Americans care about most right now, and we continue to see this in the polling that we keep doing, is affordability and bringing prices down for Americans and helping everyday Americans. I think the other thing that played a factor in the two of them getting along so well is they are both extremely charismatic politicians. I think both of them, a lot of their political strength comes from their ability to captivate a crowd. And I think they recognize that in one another, and they recognize that there are ways that they could actually help one another. Now, there are some difficulties here. We know that House Republicans, for the most part, are gearing up to run in 2026 in the midterms, largely against Mamdani. They plan to paint their opponents as connected to this Democratic Socialist who is the mayor, or going to be the mayor of the largest city in the country. That does create, obviously, a tension between the way that President Trump is talking about them. We saw one of the questions from the press was about Elise Stefanik being very harsh on Mamdani, calling him a jihadist, and President Trump sort of batted that down and said he seems like a very reasonable guy, but she's out campaigning, and sometimes you say things when you're campaigning. So I think this wasn't quite what anyone expected, but there are explanations for it. And it seems that there is a bit of a budding bromance between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. They were on the same page on certain topics. Even the
they were
president
on the same page about damn near everything. I don't know if you guys didn't see it yet. I'd say you go watch it. I really do want to just go watch. I don't really want to, because they had a very productive meeting. Here it is. We'll just watch it. We'll just watch it because honestly, this was good.
Just had
This was good.
Great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. That anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him
And be
to
helping
make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for the mayor-elect. For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Could you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question, and on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like.
Gave him praise. Gave him praise.
Discussion, but just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please. Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding
Competition, man. It's simple competition.
is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, guys, what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state in Lebanon. And what is your next push toward disarmament?
Sure. Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or $21 trillion. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East. And we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it. And I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that. Absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again 2 major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and
One in 10.
And I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
you threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents
Right.
in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out, maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from BBC in a second. But first of all, to the mayor-elect. You're both...
You didn't let him respond to that.
You're both populists, though, and I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any parts of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, you know, I think they have some big energy problems. You know, they've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You had a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
Mr. President, have you spoken to President Zelensky or do you intend to?
Who?
President Zelensky about your plan to meet with them?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it.
You know what that means?
It's so sad. So many people. You know, last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers, and it goes on. And I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker. But it does take 2 to tango. And now you just see all the death. And, you know, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people. That really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. this is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25. Think of that, 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What happened to President? I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Lou Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay.
It's easier.
Yes.
He said you could call him fascist. You could call me a fascist. That's okay.
I asked you also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that
I'll be right back, y'all.
either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
tenuous.
he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess,
The suggestion that you made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point, he's going to have to accept something, He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office, not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done. He didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on.
Right.
Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that to be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
Mr. President,
We had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. It's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something in the back?
President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to respond to
Yeah,
that?
I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want. We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white.
They're getting along pretty good.
Putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys have spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
To be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
What you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters is targeted.
Please, go ahead.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, you know, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today, he'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, named de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President,
Okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire.
They not love each other, but they're going to work together, it seems.
Living in New York City under
Of course they're not going to agree on everything.
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one. one for
Please.
the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I will use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and muses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
Mr. President, and you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump didn't do a peace and worked hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer's and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal. Absolutely. I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great. I appreciate it.
Mr. President, you said you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City
they getting along, man.
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy. Outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than in some form?
Because I think he's different. All right? I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way, but I think he's different than, your typical guy, runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point. And he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than, your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of He came out of nowhere. What, you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting. Right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
You know, we have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room. So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime.
Yeah.
There are many police officers that come off the roll.
Very productive meeting. This is what we like to see, man. This is what we like to see.
Those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops. And are you going to require that happens? Would there be some consequences?
Well, I hope it happens, but again, it's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did, Commissioner.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there still topics that you see this you're disagreeing on in the future, and do you think you'll have
Almost done.
with this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately, he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable. If he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future?
Excuse me?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future? You know, throughout the administration?
I think we will. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign. She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that. But you know, I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, you know, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Productive meeting, man. Absolutely productive meeting. I'm glad that this happened. I'm glad that they worked it out, and I'm glad that they talked over their policies and how they feel about certain situations, especially when it comes to New York. You know, that's his main focus, clearly, and Trump is going to back him up, man. Let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. I'd really like to know y'all thoughts. I like this. I like this a lot. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if y'all are new. Till next time, man. It's your boy Dgotsauce, man. Let's get into the final. Yeah, one more video I want to get into. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, found it. So, major gang takedown in Queens.
We're here to announce the
Major gang takedown in Queens. 12 people arrested. Let's tune into the video, y'all. See what's going on out here in these streets, man.
We're here to announce the indictment of 32 reputed gang members as part of what's called Operation Shadyville. This is the largest single gang takedown in the history of Queens County. It is the second largest gang takedown, which included different gangs, also from this administration, which was about 3 years ago. This is a 97 count indictment against, like I said, the single gang called Badco Ball-Out Gang, which is made up of both self-made Mac ballers and 5-5 neighborhood Crips. We have charged a total of 13 incidents of gunfire, 13 fatal shootings, 2 non-fatal shootings, 8 shots fired incidents that did not strike a person. 14 out of the 32 of the defendants are in fact shooters, and there are 6 individual victims, 3 murdered by gunfire, 1 struck by the car driven by an innocent man who was shot and killed by the gunfire, and 2 non-fatal shooting victims. This violence spanned across the borough of Queens County. It was in Queens Village, Hollis, Jamaica, Fresh Meadows, Kew Garden Hills, St. Albans, and Cambria Heights. Approximately 17 firearms.
I'm gonna just say something real quick. You would think by now, like, people would be like, I ain't joining the gang. Gangs are pointless. It's only two things that's gonna end up happening in the gang. You're either gonna die or you're gonna jail. You would think by now people would be like, you know what, this ain't for me. At least normal people. This is the saddest thing, man. It really is. It's trash. The culture is trash. And then they're gonna go make a rap song out of it, like it makes it even better.
Which you have before you were seized during this investigation.
It's ridiculous,
we allege
honestly,
that these defendants have become the most violent gang in the borough of Queens County, creating fear and violence throughout this borough. The defendants are variously charged with murder, conspiracy, weapons possession, related charges. All have been charged with at least conspiracy in the second degree, face up to 15 years. Others have been charged with conspiracy in the first degree. They face over 25 years to life. 6 of the defendants are charged with the conspiracy in the first degree. Like I said, one of the highest charges available to law enforcement today. 23 of these defendants were apprehended yesterday morning by our partners in the New York City Police Department, while 6 of the other defendants were already incarcerated on other matters. 23 of the defendants were remanded or held on high-dollar bail in court yesterday. by Judge Holder and Judge DiBiase. We thank our partners in the judicial system for their efforts. 3 defendants remain unapprehended. 6 will be arraigned at a later date. We allege that the leader of this gang is called Zohran Mamdani, who goes by the street name Shady. He was responsible for arming and organizing local teenagers. He also gave permission to gang members to shoot rivals. The group primarily operated from Atapuco's home in Queens Village. And remember that Queens Village is a quiet residential neighborhood. They called it Shadyville. I refuse to give up the neighborhood. It's called Queens Village, where he stored, procured, and distributed firearms. Many of the individuals charged in this indictment live in Queens Village. For the last 4 years, members of Bad Coke Gang have been in an ongoing feud with their perceived enemies, Top Op Macballers, Fifth Clack, and BG4. The groups are battling for territorial dominance in Southeast Queens, and it was common practice for Bad Coke members to travel.
They're battling for territorial dominance that they don't even own house or the land or the property.
Are you out of your French toast mind?
These people are dumb. Bro, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. Where's the fathers? Where's the mothers? Where's the uncles that can talk to the kids? Where's the community leaders? Where's the Black Lives Matter? Where's the riots? Why are we not disgusted already? I'm so confused. Why are we not disgusted?
Geographic territories controlled by rival gangs.
I hate this stuff.
In vehicles, on scooters and bikes, and you know we have a large initiative on the scooters.
I hate
and
it.
they seek out rival gang members to target for shooting. The defendants also called this practice spinning the block. They would seek the rival gang members by spinning the block, and many acts of violence were typically precipitated by taunts on social media. There are also social media provocations meant to lure rivals into Bad Code territory so that they may be targeted for the acts of violence. Make no mistake, this group didn't care whether they were shooting in busy intersections, whether they were shooting by schools, playgrounds, or very near residential homes or apartment buildings. After the shooting, it was common for members of the gang to brag about their exploits on music videos posted on YouTube and other social media platforms. There's also a number of daytime shootings associated with Bad Code.
Tell me, man.
Think about what
Make
the
songs
daytime
about it.
shootings bring. Think about
They
people
brag
walking to
about it.
school, coming from school,
They smoke
seniors
their
going to
hops.
senior centers, doing your shopping. One defendant's
bro.
exploits were so well known that his nickname was Broad Day. Broad Day, for the number of broad daylight shootings he participated in.
That's
The violence
the name.
associated with this group is truly staggering.
That's
I'm going
the
to
name
highlight a
of
few
the
of those incidents for you.
Broad day,
On
'cause
March 25th, 2022, multiple
shooting in
defendants
broad
planned to
daylight.
shoot a rival gang member outside Cardozo High School. Defendant Sean Chang, who was known as Broad Day, went to the school at dismissal time, and he fired multiple rounds from a .380 caliber semi-automatic pistol, and it struck the rival gang member. This shooting happened at 3 p.m. On June 7th, 2022,
I'm mad
a
about
teenage
kids.
girl was preparing for her upcoming Regents exams in her home on 113th Road near Francis Lewis in St. Albans. This teenager, a student at Bronx Science High School, was sitting in her living room on a quiet residential street. Three of these defendants, including Shady, in an attempt to murder a rival gang member, fired 23 rounds in the immediate vicinity of her house and struck the girl in the leg. Fortunately, she survived. You'll see, we have a video of this, and you will see multiple muzzle flashes in this video. By the way, in this indictment, it is 3 fatal shootings, not 13, like I said. So 3 fatal shootings in this indictment. In November 22nd, just a mile from where we stand right now in Kew Garden Hills, these defendants conspired to murder an 18-year-old gang member named Mark Green. At least 5 individuals gathered outside North Queens Community High School next to the Queen of Peace Roman Catholic Church on Main Street. Defendant Jeff Joseph, whose street name is Havoc, and Shady approached Green. Havoc took out a loaded gun and killed the 18-year-old. This shooting, by the way, happened as well at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, in the middle of another residential neighborhood. Just a few months later, on January 20th, 23, a then 14-year-old defendant known as Shifty fired multiple rounds outside the New Dawn Charter School and Early Bird Educational Center in Jamaica. I'd like you all to just remember who goes to those schools, very young people as well. This shooting happened at 3:50 p.m. On May 20th, 24, 2 of these defendants, Emeka Anodu and a 16-year-old, spotted a rival in the McDonald's at the busy intersection of Springfield Boulevard and Linden. Both defendants fired multiple rounds into the McDonald's. And miraculously, no one was injured. This shooting was again in broad daylight at approximately 3 p.m.
Broad daylight did that one.
In the upcoming video, you will see the perceived rival in red standing outside the McDonald's.
Absolutely.
The defendants congregate in the parking lot, spray the restaurant with bullets. Pay attention to the glass window as you watch the video.
Mad innocent people, dog.
3 o'clock.
They don't care.
Perhaps
So
the
why
most
should we
tragic
care if they
incident
don't
was
care?
associated with this, in this case happened on September 16th, 2024. A then 15-year-old
Why should we
defendant, after getting into an altercation with a rival gang member near Popeyes on Farmers Boulevard, produced a firearm, pointed it at his rival, and fired the weapon multiple times into the intersection. At that same time, an innocent motorist, not involved, innocent motorist, 66-year-old William Alcindor, was driving his Nissan Rogue eastbound on Baisley Boulevard. The 66-year-old was shot, struck by gunfire, and lost control of his car, which crashed into a 23-year-old woman who was sitting on the sidewalk. Mr. Alcindor died from a gunshot wound to his forehead and 2 in his chest. The 23-year-old woman suffered a head trauma, a collapsed lung, and is still having mobility issues due to the lower body trauma she suffered in the crash. The next video, I warn you, is very disturbing. You'll see a perceived rival pass the defendant on a scooter. The defendant produced a weapon and fired across the intersection. After the gunfire, look at the right corner of the video. You'll see the Nissan that Mr. Alcindor was driving crash into the building at the intersection and hit the innocent pedestrian.
Let me watch that.
This is this is the very definition of senseless violence that produce innocent victims as well. People have nothing to do with this. The members of BADCO were not just targeting rivals either. On January 27th, an adolescent offender who goes by the street name Lucky allegedly took it upon himself to execute another BADCO member, 20-year-old Ike Anadu, whom he believed to be a criminal informant. The victim was invited to the filming of a music video in the vicinity of 86th Drive. The defendant lured Ike to an apartment complex with no working cameras in the vestibule and shot him point blank. Handed the gun to his co-defendant, Seth Mignon to dispose of the firearm. The gang members apprehended in this case very much knew that they had heat. They knew that we were actively investigating, and they made sure to try and cover their tracks.
Of course they
Our
did.
message today is, if you think you can run and hide, think again. You can't. We will find you. We will prosecute you. And we will remove you from the streets long enough to ensure public safety. We have an extraordinary Violent Criminal Enterprise Bureau here at the DA's office and an extraordinary partner in the New York City Police Department. And every single day we think about how to make the streets safer of Queens County for the people who live here, play here, go to school here, go to their mothers and fathers here. They should be allowed to do that in safety. And if you're a gang member who is targeting other gang members or each other, there's going to be innocent victims. We will not allow it. We will.
Listen, man. Shout outs to New York for trying to keep their streets safe. I don't blame them one bit for trying to get rid of this nonsense in their streets, man. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to live in an environment like this. It's a whole lot of evil, man. Real talk. At the end of the day, it's a whole lot of evil. It's a whole lot of evil, man. And you know, justice will be served, man. Too many people dying in these streets for no reason. Honestly, talking about they're shooting over territories that they don't even own. Like, seriously, man, this is whack. This is whack. And I know a lot of people, they say it's not easy. You know, it's not. They can't just come out. They can't just change the leaf. They can't just, you know, get a regular job. Like, you got to do whatever it takes. You got to do whatever it takes, man, because this is not the position or the life you want to be in. You know, I know people that got swallowed into this behavior. I know that. I've been around it. You got to do whatever it takes, bro. Whatever it takes, man. Especially if you got kids. If you got kids, like, you should already know better. You should already know better. You know, it's not always people grow up in the best environment. I understand that, man. But once you see it turning left, once you see it, you have to start protecting yourself a certain way, or you got beef with people that you just get out of there. Honestly, get out of there, man. Let me know y'all thoughts, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all viewership, man. It was a very interesting live. I mean, not interesting live, good live, man. And I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out. Hit that subscribe button too if y'all are new, man. Until next time, it's your boy Dgotsauce.